The country's first case of monkeypox is now under isolation, along with 10 of their identified close contacts. Tropical Depression Esther continues to bring rain over parts of Luzon and Visayas as it moves to exit the Philippine area of responsibility later today. Authorities say it's still early to conclude that the killing of Chow Tiao Yumo's father was a retaliation to the Ateneo shooting incident. And there's no end in sight for the chaos experienced by travelers to and around the UK. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your weekend. I'm Riza Diaz. Tropical Depression Esther is causing light to moderate rains over southern part of Luzon and Visayas. Now, Esther is moving north-northwestward and is currently 785 kilometers east of Itbayat, Batanes. Still, no tropical cyclone wind signal is hoisted for Esther. The tropical depression is expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility by this afternoon. The country's first case of monkeypox is now under quarantine, along with 10 of their close contacts. Maricel Halili has the report.
The Department of Health has confirmed the first case of monkeypox in the Philippines. The case is a 31-year-old Filipino who arrived from abroad last July 19. Health Undersecretary Beverly Ho said the case had prior traveled to countries with documented monkeypox. After showing some symptoms, the patient underwent RT-PCR test at the RITM on July 28 and tested positive of the virus.
The case has been discharged well and is undergoing strict isolation and monitoring at home.
Ho said the health department has already completed its case investigation and identified 10 close contacts. 3 of them were from the same household. Fortunately, all close contacts are asymptomatic, but they are still in quarantine for close monitoring. Based on the guidelines of DOH, the quarantine period will last from 14 to 21 days, depending on the symptoms that may occur. To help prevent the spread of the virus, the DOH reminds the public to keep hands clean. Always wear face mask, cover coughs using the elbow, and choose areas with good airflow. The DOH also advised the public to minimize close sexual contact with suspected cases, especially those with rashes or open wounds. While the situation is still under control, President Bongbong Marcos has given directives to government agencies.
This is not particularly fatal, but it is of concern. So his primary concern was to get the information out so that people will be aware, but also to be aware that the systems of the DOH are in place and that this is not the same as COVID.
The DOH is already in contact with U.S. government for the possible procurement of monkeypox vaccines. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
One health expert says monkeypox can be contracted through prolonged exposure to someone who has active lesions. Speaking to the chief's infectious disease expert, Dr. Ronchin Solante noted that one can still be infectious even as the lesions start to dry up. He added that the virus can also be contracted by sharing beddings and clothes with an infected person.
Hindi siya airborne, hindi siya aerosolized, no?
Yes.
Pero ang pinaka most common mode pa rin ng transmission, once you have the skin lesion and then you come in contact with that skin lesion and then you wipe your face, you touch your mouth, you touch your eyes, that's where you can get it, no? In fact, may mga na-document na rin yung mga kumot, mga damit na contaminated na sa skin lesions. If you get to touch that and you don't wash your hands, that can also be a mode of transmission.
Meanwhile, Solante also explained that many monkeypox cases worldwide exist within a risk group, which include people with multiple sexual partners. Solante also said that monkeypox lesions usually occur in the anal, genital, and oral areas of the body.
these are the gay, the bisexual, and those with multiple contacts. And that's why we need to address that particular issue, because we may be able to stigmatize and discriminate a certain point of this group of population. Now, let's face this. The current cases are sexually transmitted or transmitted via sexual contact or close intimate contact. And the lesions are not the typical monkeypox that we've seen in West and Central Africa. What do I mean by that? There are lesions na nakikita ngayon na they present with, most of the cases present in the sexually or sexual health clinic, no, or mga HIV clinic, because the lesions are usually occurring sa anal area, sa genital area, and then sa mouth and the face.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Lamitan City Police says it's still too early to think the killing of Chow Tiao Yumol's dad to the shooting incident in Ateneo. Jenny Dongan with the story.
The father of Ateneo shooting suspect Dr. Chow Tiao Yumol was shot dead in his residence at Lamitan City, Basilan on Friday morning. This happened less than a week after Chow Yumol gunned down former Mayor Rose Furigay, her assistant, and an Ateneo security guard during the Ateneo Law School graduation rites. According to an eyewitness, the 69-year-old Rolando Yumol was outside his residence sweeping when a riding in tandem shot him. He was immediately brought to the Lamitan District Hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. The elder Yumol suffered 4 gunshot wounds in his lower back from a caliber .45 pistol. A pistol was found in his shorts, apparently for self-defense. He was a former member of the then Philippine Constabulary. According to the family's caretaker, Rolando has been advised to stay indoors as much as possible.
Sabi ko sa kanya, ang matanda, huwag maglabas dito lang sa bahay, sa loob ng bahay. Sabi ko kanang ganon. Tapos sabi niya, oo, hindi ako maglabas. Ewan po kung bakit, late ang gising ko kanina. 3 cellphone na inalarm ko. Hindi ako nakagising. Nakagising ako sa putok ng baril.
His immediate family members have been informed but are unable to return to Lamitan yet. The Lamitan City Police says linking the recent murder to the shooting last July 24 is still speculative for now.
Maging mainahon po tayo, huwag po tayong padalos-dalos na mag-suspect. Kung may alitan man silang both parties, sa ngayon po, sinisikap natin na makahagilap ng impormasyon. O under investigation pa po ito, wala pa tayong lead o wala pa tayong nakuhang witness on sa incident na nangyari kanina.
The Furigay family has called on the police to conduct a thorough investigation to clear their name from the incident.
Hindi naman tama na husgahan na kaagad ang pamilya Furigay na sila ay may kinalaban dito. Kasi lahat naman ng kaso ay dinaan ng pamilya Furigay sa legal na proseso nung niyurakan ng kanilang mga karapatan.
For his part, Basilan Congressman Mujib Hataman condemned the killing, calling it a senseless act of violence. He urged Lamitan residents to remain calm following the series of shooting incidents. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, we are One News.
The UK is currently experiencing some problems in their transport sector, evidenced by cancelled flights, gridlock traffic and the train strikes. This Bloomberg Quick Take tells us the root cause of all these problems. Let's watch this.
This summer so far in the UK has been marred by flight cancellations, long queues at Dover, train strikes. The port of Dover is a key port into Europe, and obviously the big change has been that since Brexit there are additional checks. Last weekend there were reports of some people waiting as long as 11 hours. The UK side of the argument says that that's not the issue.
The fact is that the French authorities have not put enough people on the border. And I'm in touch with the French authorities. I'm very clear that we need to see action from them.
For example, last Friday, we know from France as well that they had some issues in the morning with staffing. There's also been some problems with road closures around Dover that have made things worse. But what is happening now that didn't happen pre-Brexit is that every single person has to have their passport checked. The UK, unlike other governments, didn't directly support industries like aviation through the pandemic. And what that meant is we saw a lot of layoffs in the sector. In some cases, for example, baggage handlers at Heathrow, we've heard that people have left the industry altogether. They actually didn't see massive layoffs, but what they did see is pay freezes, which means they've gone several years already without a hike in their pay. What we've also seen is some demand for the UK rail system to modernise, which in some cases means reducing staff in certain positions. And so the unions are also asking for their workers' jobs to be protected and also for conditions to be protected.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.